The US has said it carried out large-scale strikes this evening against multiple ISIS targets across Syria. America's Central Command says the operation, codenamed Hawkeye Strike, hit multiple ISIS positions just after 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The operation was launched at the direction of President Trump in response to an ISIS ambush attack by terrorists on US and Syrian forces last December, which killed 2 US soldiers and a civilian interpreter. In a stark message, the US Central Command said, quote, "If you harm our warfighters, we'll find you and kill you anywhere in the world, no matter how hard you try to evade justice." It remains unclear tonight whether anyone was killed in these most recent strikes, but resharing the statement, US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said, "We will never forget and never relent." And this also follows this warning from President Trump.
Mr. President, will the U.S. retaliate against ISIS?
Yeah, we will. We will retaliate. Thank you very much.
Joining me in Washington is my panel, political commentator Hilary Fordwich and the Democrat strategist Mally Smith. Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Thanks
Welcome back to America.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We need to play some golf soon. That's my New Year's resolution.
Not in the rain today, but when it gets warmer.
Before we crack on with the stories, I just wanted to share Hilary's very nice GB News notebook, which she has very loyally kept bringing into the studio. So well done. I'm jealous. Even I haven't got one of those.
Right.
Let's crack on with serious matters.
Yes.
Mally, the situation. This is almost like a military special tonight on the Late Show Live. There's so much going on, and of course the situation in Minneapolis as well. What do you make of the situation, first of all, in Syria tonight? A second round of strikes against ISIS?
Yeah, I think it's completely appropriate. This is something that I think we're broadly going to have American support for. We had ISIS attack U.S. Soldiers, killed the soldiers and the interpreter, and then this is a proportionate response to that attack. And given so much that's in the news over the past 10 days, what's crazy is prolonged attack in Syria probably is not even going to break the top 3 news stories in the next couple weeks, given everything we're going through. So I think there'll be broad U.S. support unless something incredible comes out and we learn more about this. But I think this is something U.S. folks will support.
Okay, good. So as the resident left-winger tonight, because there's been lots of military stuff in recent days, which most lefties have said it's an outrage. Venezuela, outrage. Getting involved again in Iran, possible outrage. You're happy with this? No problems?
With the Syria part. We could talk
Syria.
about, we could talk about the other two, but the Syria part.
The other things, I'm actually surprised that Maddie said that, so I'm really happy about that. And I loved, actually, Pete Hegseth's quote, we'll never forget and we'll never relent. And I would say, don't mess with the US. I've always said, you give me a naughty, badly behaved child, I'll give you a weak parent. When there's a strong parent, you get well-behaved, productive children, and I think this is the same across the world. A weak US, and you have discord around the world, you have terrorists around the world messing with us, you have a strong president and a strong secretary of war like this, and people will stop messing with us.
Yeah, I will say as a Brit, as a sort of third party here, it does feel like you guys, Mally, have got your mojo back, you've got your strut back on the world stage, militarily, yes. I mean, anyway.
Although...
nobody, I mean, there was details today, I don't know if you saw, Hillary and Mally, there was a Maduro bodyguard who spoke about, he gave a really in-depth interview about the operation, saying that 20-odd special forces soldiers came down from helicopters. They took on 200 Venezuelan bodyguards. They used sort of supersonic sound weapons against them. It just sounded like...
It was one of the most sophisticated raids absolutely ever. And when you think about things like what happened when we had that helicopter go down and the mess that we had in the Middle East years ago under Carter, you think about things that were total and utter failures, were an embarrassment for the US and the hostages being taken. Yes, this gives us our mojo back, puts us back in the world stage, but also it's not just the US. Don't forget, Ben, this oil tanker seized off the coast of Scotland, south of Iceland, that was British Special Forces also. They did the air reconnaissance, so the Brits have been involved as well, which is wonderful. I think here we are back again, the dynamic duo on the world stage. Despite our government, we still have the best special forces in the world. Oh, absolutely.
This interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN and their New Year deal. New Year, new VPN, and a huge saving of up to 80% if you act now. You're busy planning how to get in shape, but the hackers are planning how to get into your accounts. ExpressVPN locks down your connection so you can start the year protecting your data. So scan the QR code or click the link in the description now.
Mally, so I was going to ask you, do you feel proud of America back on the world stage? You're showing your authority?
Look, there's no question that the U.S. military is the best in the world. The question is whether these actions taken by the U.S. military are strategically correct. And when it comes to Venezuela, and when it comes to threatening our allies like Greenland with invasion, and also talking about attacking Mexico and Cuba, I don't think that makes us stronger. I think you have folks like China and Russia who are going to use this language of territorial conquest to further their aims, to create division in Ukraine, and to continue their efforts to try to take Taiwan. So I don't think those actions make us safer, and I don't think it's strategically wise, some of this foreign intervention we've been doing. I'm glad you guys are proud of the U.S. military. I am too, but that's never the question in this. We took out Saddam Hussein months after toppling Baghdad. We toppled Baghdad in a day. We took the Taliban out in a day. We were able to find and get Bashar al-Assad. The problems came years later.
Yeah.
So
let's. No, it's a good point. I'll give you that.
Take a step back.
It's a good point, and that is where President Trump has been receiving some criticism. I think a lot of the left were saying, okay, great, nice operation in Venezuela, but then the news came that they were going to take control of the country, and a lot of people were like, whoa, well, okay, what does that mean? Well,
there was one other quote that I actually did grimace a little bit about when President Trump said about Greenland, just because they went there 500 years ago doesn't mean to say that it's theirs. I'm thinking, oh gosh, what about the US?
Yeah, right. That's a little tough for us.
Right.
Before we go to my next guest, I want to share with you, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, but any viewers and listeners who aren't, so there's an account on social media called the Pentagon Pizza Tracker. Basically, it tracks customer footfall in the pizza shops around the Pentagon here in, well, it's in Virginia, just down the road. So you've got Domino's, Papa John's, DC Pizza, other brands are available. So it reports if there's a spike in usage in orders. This was a tweet earlier today, sorry, a post on X earlier today from Pentagon Pizza Watch saying Papa John's, 2 miles from the Pentagon, is experiencing an extreme spike in activity, reaching 244% above normal custom as of Saturday morning. DEFCON level is 4. Now, what this suggests, what this normally is interpreted by, is that people working in the Pentagon, defence staff, working on security operations, are pulling all-nighters because something is about to happen imminently, i.e. militarily. Anyway, hours later, after that tweet, Papa John's custom through the roof, we learned that the US had struck Syria some hours later. So it seems to be accurate, and it's been accurate.
Wait a second, people are eating pizza in the morning?
Well, if you're pulling all-nighters,
it's your night for you.
I guess
pizza.
I guess Pentagon staff are pulling all-nighters. They're tapping away on radars, watching drones, and then they need some pizza.
They need to eat something more healthy.
Right, there's only one man who would be best to comment on the Pentagon Pizza Tracker. That's former CIA operative Michael Waller. Michael, good evening. Thank you for your company. Had you heard about the Pentagon Pizza Tracker, Michael?
It's a pretty accurate pizza tracker. It's these guys go out and they eat, and you literally map the activity within the Pentagon.
What's your thoughts on, and there's so much to ask you about, Michael, what's your thoughts, first of all, on the second round of strikes on ISIS and Syria? Some viewers and listeners will be surprised that ISIS are still mooching around. I thought Trump dealt with them years ago.
Well, yeah, it's important to just wipe them out every time they kill us and our allies. We've seen how the U.S. officials have been specifically saying our Syrian ally, the interpreter who was helping us out, this is for them, for that person too. So it's time to just stop putting, shoot me, kick me signs on ourselves and to wipe these guys out and put an end to this ISIS nonsense. Notably also, the UK and the French have been doing their own operations in the area within the past few weeks. So you can tell there's some real good allied relationships still going on in Syria.
Jalani, the leader of Syria, the former al-Qaeda operative, I guess he would have been informed and probably in on these strikes against ISIS, right?
I don't know. The trick in ruling places like that is to use factions against one another. I think it's pretty tasteless to have a relationship with a guy like that. But if we can use one bad guy to wipe out other bad guys, then good guys are ahead.
Yeah, well, they did invite him into the Oval Office some weeks ago. Michael, can I ask you please about everything else that's going on militarily? Iran, how close are we to US involvement in Iran? Because, again, it feels like it could happen at any moment.
Yeah, I would like to see the U.S. stay out and simply allow the Iranian people to have their own revolution on their own. Perhaps we can provide them with intelligence. Perhaps we can knock out some targets that are going to wipe out a lot of innocent people. Other than that, I think this is the Iranian people's move on their own. It's good to hear the American president say that he's standing with the Iranian people, because that means he's not going to spare the regime.
Is the CIA on the ground in Tehran and Iran, Michael?
I've got no way of knowing. I presume. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably better that they're not, because the Iranian people seem to be doing just great on their own.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I get what you're saying, but there are Iranians on the ground in Tehran and the other cities and the provinces across the country begging for American intervention. The first reports about the number of the death toll reports were something like 50 odd this morning, but there are now organisations on the ground in Iran saying that actually the bodies are piling up in hospitals. The death count is more than 2,000, which is a completely different ballgame altogether. Would you be okay with intervention then, even if it was, say, military strikes on military facilities and so on?
I think it'd be fine for us to do military strikes, whether they're missile strikes or aircraft strikes or drone strikes on Revolutionary Guard targets or even other weapons. So you might have some type of kamikaze type situation where the regime is it's dying, so it's going to take everyone else in the world with them. That's the ideology of the regime, to have an Armageddon type military relationship for the 12th Imam. So you don't know what this regime is going to do.
Okay, Michael, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Keep an eye on that pizza tracker. You never know when the pepperoni margaritas will go through the roof. We may get some strikes on Tehran. You never know. Michael, thanks very much. Michael Waller, former CIA operative. Throughout the show, at some point during the show, I'll find time. I'm going to read you some extracts of this interview with Maduro's bodyguard, who was basically detailing the operation the United States carried out against Maduro and the Venezuelan bodyguards. It is astonishing. So at some point I'll read you what happened. He says, after drones appeared, helicopters arrived. There were very few, I think maybe 8, but from those helicopters, 20-odd soldiers came down and they took on 200 Venezuelan bodyguards. Then they talked about some sort of sound wave device where there was a vibration or some sort of sonic boom where the Venezuelan bodyguards started getting nosebleeds, they collapsed. I don't know what that technology is, and it just goes to show, I'd argue, that America really is at the forefront of military operations across the world.